Welcome, welcome, welcome to One Spirit's The Gathering. And for those of you who don't know me yet, I'm Reverend Lainey Love Dalby. I'm a transformational catalyst on a passionate mission to free human spirits to sparkle shamelessly and step into their authentic power and sovereignty, especially those who've been told they're either too much or not enough. I'm also the co-founder of the Ecstatic Embodied Leadership Academy and the Soul Sparkle Sanctuary Global Community. And I'm also a One Spirit Seminary graduate, class of 2011. Woo! So I'm an ecstatic embodied leadership mentor, a transformational speaker and retreat leader, best-selling author, visionary shamanic healing artist, and the cosmic creatrix of the new Sacred Revolution multimedia oracle deck, which we're going to get to experience a reading from this evening. And I'm really a guide and visionary cosmic creatress for this new consciousness emerging on Earth, here to really help you escape the status quo so that you can live unapologetically and wildly alive in your soul essence, in your shameless sparkle, in your truth, and who you are here to be. I'm really here to support you in taking your power back, in standing in your full agency and living into your revolutionary potential for the good of all. So when we leave this earth plane, I really want us all to be able to say and know deep in our bones that we lived and played full out with our full essence and lived into all that we were here to be and become. And creating containers of alchemical transformation is one of my core superpowers. And they are either diverse sacred circles or containers like this oracle deck that are for deep healing and sacred play and soul growth and alchemical transformation, so that we can really fully step into our innate primal power and sovereignty and our ecstatic embodied leadership potential for the greater good of all of humanity. And in that, I'm really deeply passionate about ending our culture's rampant disregard for life, especially the overt and covert violence that's perpetrated against the sacred feminine and our own bodies and Mama Gaia, by restoring sacred reconnection around the globe. And so through all the different forms of my sacred work in the world, I dismantle old systems, ideas, and ways of being that really dim our inner soul sparkle, our innate shameless sparkle, and promote separateness and limit our full creative and revolutionary potential. So I'm really holding space for you and others to rise and come home in deep sacred reconnection to their bodies, their soul essence and truth, so that we can truly remember who we are and why we are here at this most powerful time in human history. And my ultimate goal is really to help us all feel more comfortable in our own skin and live in greater alignment with who we truly are. And that's really why I heard and answered the call to create this oracle deck at this time, to bring this medicine in this traveling art gallery, in a sense, that can go all around the globe and be essentially these medicine pills that you can take and receive this medicine in whatever way feels most aligned for you. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but at first I really wanted to dive into the art of divination and really talk about the ancient origins and process of the art of divination. And really talk about some of the different types of divination that exist, and really give you an idea of how deeply ancient and encoded in our bones this practice really is. So in this collective cauldron of uncertainty that we find ourselves in at this time, we really need to tune into our sacred center and that still point within. And let's just take a moment actually and do that together. There's a beautiful mudra that comes from the 13 moon mysteries, and it's really holding your left hand at the base of your heart, and it's bringing your right hand above your head and pulling it down the center line, and just saying, I am here now. And you can do that again, just coming in, I am here now. Just feeling yourself land in that still point within you. Yeah. So it's really during such deep pockets of uncertainty that oracle decks, that tarot, that different forms of divination are some of the most powerful sacred tools we have to thrive and to tap into divine guidance, to come to that place of I am here now in my center, in my knowing, and to return, especially in the midst of chaos. And so the art of divination really supports us in getting comfortable with being uncomfortable and sitting in this dark, fertile womb of the mystery. And oracle and divination decks, as well as the tarot, which the gathering was about last time there was tarot, that really are powerful tools to help us access our inner guidance and really connect to the ancestors, to come back home to ourselves and our truth. They really bring magic and light and joy into dark times for resiliency and that sense of rugged hope. And they really remind us of who we truly are and who we're becoming. So it really helps us to step into our evolutionary and revolutionary edge. And I absolutely, out of divination, oracle cards are my favorite, even above and beyond the tarot. I have over 80 decks in my own personal collection. And it's because they really hold the potential to unlock our own power and inner wisdom and medicine. They can point us back within to that remembrance of what is already within us, what it is that we already know, and ground us back into the truth of that. And so the art of divination is really a process of finding meanings in symbols or patterns or colors, especially when you need greater discernment or really find yourself at a major turning point in your life. So in a sense, it's a communication with higher consciousness and guidance. And the artwork, or what I like to call heart work, with the art in parentheses on each of the cards, becomes a prayer, a deep healing and a communion with the divine. It's allowing us to access an endless well of colorful textured language from this mysterious realm of soul. And so each sacred offering becomes a clue to this truth of who we are, as if we're old school Nancy Drew on the trail, really seeking that core essence of who we're here to be and become, that's leading us closer to ourselves and why we're here at this time. So it allows us to really be in direct conversation with the mystery. And it's an opportunity for us to really take an individual journey into our own inner landscapes, bringing forth our deepest expressions of wholeness and really this embodied truth that can be felt deep in our bones, that remembrance, remembering ourselves, calling all parts of ourselves back home, present, here, now, so that we can really be in our full potential for the good of all during this time of deep crisis on our planet. And so it's really welcoming all parts of ourselves home and surrendering to the mystery and safely entering into the darkness, into the shadow, into those places that we might not always feel safe wandering. And in essence, it's really merging spirit and earth through cosmic creation. And we have this passion for the knowledge of destiny and why we're here as humans. We have this innate curiosity, and that's really led us to this practice of divination. And there are so many different types of divination, but I'm going to mention a few, including some of the most ancient. And scrying is actually one of the oldest likely methods of divination. And it was practiced by many different cultures. And it could be reading reflections in water. In Egypt, scrying was practiced with ink. In Mesopotamia, bowls were filled with oil. Ancient Greeks found meaning in the reflection in mirrors and on metal. And in Aztec traditions, they used obsidian, which is volcanic glass, that is a well-known crystal that a lot of people work with today. And so the practice of scrying led eventually to the readings of crystals and the powers associated with them, such as the crystal ball that you've heard of. That is the practice of scrying that witches of old used to use, and many modern witches as well. I have a few crystal balls in my collection and obsidian mirrors as well for my shamanic healing work. So scrying was one of the oldest forms, and another was oracle bones. So it was also known as dragon bones, that was used in the Shang dynasty of China around 1600 BCE. And there were symbols that were carved on the bones that eventually became words, and a recognizable Chinese script really developed from that practice. Also very ancient that we know of is astrology. And astrology is actually a process of divination. And it's really calculation and foretelling based on observation of heavenly bodies. So instead of an oracle card, it's actually looking to the stars, it's looking to the planets. And it becomes a tool of navigation and guidance and reconnection and healing. And it becomes an overall lens through which we perceive life and determine how to really engage with it. And so those are some of the most ancient. And then from there, the idea of reading tea leaves or coals, sand divination, the throwing of the bones, Ifa, the I Ching, or the Book of Change, that has the 64 chapters and the 64 hexagrams. And Ifa is from the Yoruba religion, and really was throwing kola nuts, called ikin. And the Delphi, which many of you have probably heard of, the oracle at Delphi was sort of this being that was associated with the Greek god Apollo. And according to the legend, this hill was guarded by a giant serpent called Python, who was a follower of the cult of Gaia. And after slaying the Python, Apollo then took over Delphi as his own sanctuary. But before that, Pythia was the name of any priestess throughout history that sat at the temple of Delphi. And the priestess was usually a woman over 50 years of age who lived apart from her husband and who sat upon this tripod, inhaling these fumes coming through a crack in the earth, that she would then fall into trance and mutter words that were said to be mostly incomprehensible, but they were interpreted by priests of the sanctuary into a common language and then delivered to those who came to see them. And so this was one of the early cases as well of prophecy, and really how divination came to be, and this idea of the living oracle, and also the power of women early on to be living oracles and to be those that delivered prophecy that was then interpreted and that was offered to the state, that was offered, in different ways. And so I see that there's a few things in the chat here. The Oracle of Delphi. Yes, Patricia. So the Oracle of Delphi is a very powerful lineage of the living oracle. And of course, for those of us who, are familiar with tarot and divination cards, that is really what we're going to be working with tonight. But this idea of cartomancy, especially with tarot cards, is this technique to really make current and possible connections visible. So it's enabling us to really see and look at perhaps current events that are coming and to peer into the possibilities of the future. And I really like to think of this as archetypal energies. And so you hear about the fact that there are different archetypes, of course, in the tarot. And an archetype is really a bridge to the divine. And it's essentially a constellation of energy and a mythic map to the collective unconscious, which, is what Carl Jung spoke so much into and brought to us. And they really support us in aligning ourselves with the truth and the highest potential of who we are and who we're here to be. And so there isn't just the archetypes in the tarot. There are thousands of archetypes, and they're the highest expression of energies that we can step into, that remind us of our potential, that remind us of who and what we can become. And so with oracle and divination, largely there are archetypes that are present, and especially in the Sacred Revolution oracle, there are a lot of archetypal energies that help to really stir that latent potential and to activate it. So it can really activate the energies and bring them forward. And so those are just a few of the pieces of divination. And I just want to open to anything in the chat that wants to come through here around any of the things that were just shared. I know it's a very brief history because we want to spend the meat of tonight really going into the group intuitive oracle reading for 2022, which I'm very excited to unlock this portal with all of you. And I have the cards all here. They're printed very large right now so that you can see them really well on the screen, and just really looking forward to holding space together to choose the constellation of energies that want to come forward to inspire us for 2022. And in terms of, we all have, when we have a reading or when we have an astrology reading or a tarot reading, we have free will, choice, and agency. And so it's an idea of giving us an inspiration. It's inspirational medicine. It's not necessarily supposed to tell the future or necessarily prescribe what it is that you're to do, but it's there to inspire you. It's there as a little thread pulling from your heart to say, this is a potentiality that I could step into, to be able to support me in being in more of who I'm here to be, and being in my truth and being in my sovereignty. So remembering, even with this reading here, with all readings, that you are a sovereign being, that you have self-agency, and that this is really for inspiration, to really open you up to new possibilities and potentialities, especially in the midst of the chaos and uncertainty, to give us a bit of an anchoring into a larger story, a larger truth, a larger narrative, a larger archetypal mythic journey that we can step into together. So I don't see anything in the chat, so I would love to dive into the deck and the reading together. And I want to share a little bit about the deck before we dive in, and then I'm going to set sacred space with us together and ask that we all hold this container together and hold the inquiry around what it is that we need to know for 2022 to best support us in being in who we're here to be and really stepping into our fullness. So to really share a little bit about the Sacred Revolution Oracle, I really deeply believe that the world is crying out right now for a great homecoming, and a homecoming back to the land, back to our bodies, and back to the heart of what matters most. And this sacred reconnection to our truth and our planetary family and our sacred purpose and our power and our earth is the medicine that I believe is going to help end the violence, the overt and covert, rampant violence and separation in our world, and help to restore us to our dignity and our humanity. And this is why I was really called to create this oracle deck now at this most crucial time in human history. And it was not the oracle deck that wanted to come first. It's the one that Spirit wanted to come first. And I said yes, as a vessel for this medicine, for this baby to come to earth. And I really believe that what we need now to live into our full potential is a sacred revolution of love and reverence for ourselves, for each other, for our precious blue-green pearl planet that we walk upon, and the web of all life. And what we really need now is a new bottom line of love aimed at restorative justice and collective healing and fierce liberation. And I believe that together we are igniting this sacred revolution. And I know because you're here that you are a sacred revolutionary, so that we can really dream and co-create a new world into being together. And that's really what the inner journey in this oracle deck is all about. And I'm so grateful that you're joining us for this journey with it tonight. And in a sense, the Sacred Revolution Oracle it's a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call to remember our interconnectedness with all beings, and to honor the spirit and the sacred divine spark in all things, and to really act from this elevated consciousness to return home. And so the deck is laid out actually in 5 different sections: returning home to the body, returning home to the earth, returning home to the human family, returning home to the web of all life, and returning home to our authentic star power. And each of the 50 cards offers cosmic shamanic archetypal transmissions to really support our personal awakening, as well as ignite galactic Gaia unity consciousness in our world for the ascension of humanity. And all of the shamanic healing art pieces were birthed with holy oil anointing, with light language transmissions, crystal medicine, codes for the new earth, as well as deep prayers and intentions for personal and planetary transmutation. And so the original art, none of it's digital. It's all mixed media collage. It's cut paper, it's paint, it's glue, it's crystals. They're deep soul and psyche transmissions. There's herbal medicine. And some of them are as large as 6 feet tall and 6 feet wide. And so they really needed to be distilled down. Some of them have 50 charged layers. And, they needed to be distilled down into these circular oracle cards, which are 4.33 inches. The ones tonight are bigger, but you're really receiving the most potent dose of the medicine possible. And each card is like a pill, like this little medicine pill with direct divine transmissions of the evolutionary mutation that we're undergoing. And so the invitation for you after we've pulled these cards is just to open and to allow yourself to be transfigured by the light codes, by the holy vibrational patterns and the cosmic resonant frequencies. The images themselves are activations of these transformative energies, coded to be received on multiple levels of consciousness. So just looking at these transmissions will activate latent potentials and light codes within you. You don't have to do anything, just open to receive. But I do invite, if you hear something in the transmission, because I'm also going to be just channeling intuitively what comes through from the cards, to write anything down that moves you to really lean in and allow yourself to receive this medicine and just allow it to bathe you, to wash over you. And so as we move into this together here, I'm going to invite and invoke sacred space and really call in our support systems so that only the highest frequency of guidance that is needed at this time can come through. And then again, we'll have everyone hold that energy together of the question of what do we most need to know for 2022 that will be in support to us, really coming into our fullness and who we're here to be. And then I'm feeling that 5 cards want to come through. So we're going to pull 5 cards and we'll go from there. And I'll hold each one up to the screen to let you see them and marinate in them before I start bringing through any channeling from the cards. Okay. So I want to invite you to close your eyes here. I'm going to play my rainbow aura quartz sound bowl. Just allow yourself, as we began in the beginning, to just take some long, deep inhales and exhales. Inviting you to place your hands on your body, perhaps on your heart or your energetic womb space, whatever feels resonant for you today. Calling in our unconditionally loving angels, ancestors, guides, and all those benevolent beings that wish to be here to hold this sacred container for us for this intuitive oracle reading. May we form a channel and pillar of light between heaven and earth that only the highest and best good and wisdom can come through. Feeling a golden light as if coming from the sun, streaming down through this pillar into our sacred container. inviting you here to focus in on the question, what do we most need to know for 2022? And just holding that question in your heart, in your mind. What is the highest and best that we need to know at this time for 2022? As I begin to choose the cards, holding that energy. Okay. Let's see what magical cards wanted to come through for us. Okay, so I'm going to show you the cards and just allow yourself to marinate on them. This is actually the Great Homecoming card, and this is the cover of the Oracle as well. And just allow yourself to marinate in the Great Homecoming and what that might mean for you for 2022. Just allowing yourself to breathe that in. The next card that came through is the Heal Your Root card. It's really about repairing the root chakra and that connection to the earth, to the body. And just let yourself breathe that in. Repair your root. This is the energetic womb level nourishment card. And I believe that we all have an energetic womb, regardless of our gender. So this is deep, deep, deep nourishment, soul level nourishment card. And just allow yourself to breathe that in. The next card that came through is the Galactic Rainbow Shamaness card. Allowing yourself to take her in. The final card is the Activating the Collective Matrix of Care. Just let yourself breathe that in. This card feels so fitting for the gathering, for One Spirit, for the energy of this space, this sacred container. So those are the core cards for our reading for 2022. There was one other one that came through as well, and it's wanting to be shared. So this is the Rewilding Your Primal Nature card. And yes, there is some sacred geometry. There's quite a lot of sacred geometry. This is the Rewilding Your Primal Nature. So I'm going to just tune into these for a moment as we weave them together. So you already heard about the great homecoming and really the essence and the energy of what this whole deck is about, what this whole journey is about. And really so much of what the deep separation and polarization that we're in the midst of, this is an antidote to that energy, this great homecoming, this great returning, this great remembrance of our divinity, of source, of our connectedness, of our oneness, of that galactic Gaia unity consciousness. And I mean, I must say that this reading for 2022 gives me so much hope to see these cards together. Such deep hope, especially that this is the end result. This end result of us truly coming together, of truly reweaving ourselves together and remembering the collectric matrix of care, remembering what it is to care for one another truly as brothers, as sisters, as queers, as beings, to truly come home to each other in deep remembrance and really feeling this. And it's almost as if the other cards are the pathway. So the intention of, okay, I'm coming home. It's time. I want to come home to my body. I want to come home to the earth. I deeply want to come home to the human family. I want to help weave this web of all life together and truly understand what nurturance culture is. I feel that thread through these cards, this remembering of nurturance culture, of what it is to be nourished, to nurture, to nourish one another, to nourish ourselves, to nurture one another, and to truly hold each other in this deep sacred way. And this card is actually images of all of the hands of women in my community. Yes, a return of true community. And, you know, we literally wove this card together. It was through our collective matrix of care that this card was even created and inscribed with the energy. And if you can see, there's the global heartbeat underneath. There's actually an image of the matrix of light, which I see as this constellation of star beings that are sparkling shamelessly across the globe, that are flooding the house of humanity with light, love, and healing. That's really what I see in this end result of this card. This is what we are moving towards. And on the way, there's going to need to be a healing. On the way to this, there's going to need to be a healing of our root, really healing the root chakra, healing that sense of safety, of security, of stability, of what it actually means, like what true safety is as a divine being having a human experience. What is true safety? And how can we return to that? How can we remember that? And the hummingbird is present in both of these. And the hummingbird is all about deep nourishment. And I love the hummingbird because the hummingbird memorizes thousands of flowers, and it only goes back to the ones that nourishes it the most. It is deeply discerning about its life force, about its energy, about who and what it gives its energy and its life force to, and where it receives from as well. It only goes to the sources that have the deepest sustenance. So just really feeling into that, what that really means. And they also have the largest hearts for an animal of their size, for the extraordinary journeys that they take. So what else that tells me is that we are still on a ride, and it might get more chaotic and it might get more challenging. But if we lead from the heart, if we walk as divine love, if we truly bring that nectar of our soul essence, because the bees, the nectar, the honey is here, if we bring that mana, and if we nourish ourselves deeply, we will be able to nourish the world with our deepest gifts and medicine. We will be able to be a part of the change that is leading to this, deep medicine of true community, of care, of nurturance culture. And the other card in here, the indication of this is the Galactic Rainbow Shamaness. And so she's really the medicine woman. She's the one that has stepped into her full capacities as a wounded healer, as one who is here to really be the change, who is here to help facilitate that, to hold space for that, to be a ceremonialist, to be a storyteller, to be a way shower for that way, from really, the intention of the great homecoming. The shamanic energy is really supportive to help us to get to this place of reconnection, to really return to the web of all life, because that is the essence of shamanic medicine. The essence of shamanic medicine is really that it is about direct revelation. It is about your own relationship with spirit, with nature, with the other realms, with the cosmos, with the stars, with astrology, with other forms of divination. And, it's really this capacity for tapping into that direct revelation, that direct connection to spirit, not needing any middleman, not needing any other authority, leaning into your own spiritual authority and agency, your own capacities to heal yourself, to heal the root, to repair the root, to repair the damage that has been done in our bodies, especially as women identified individuals, to the earth, to repair the deep, deep harm that has been done, especially at the root, and how we can start to do that and bringing in shamanic medicine. And I love that this card showed up as well, rewilding our primal nature, because that also tells me that returning to the wild, our wild nature, returning to wild ways, is a core part of this homecoming, a core part of returning home, a core part of reconnecting the web and coming home to each other in that deep, deep remembrance. And I love that the macaw is both here and here. And the macaw is all about shining your true colors. What is your true nature? And allowing yourself to bring that true nature forward. That's very much what this card is about. Not what other people have said you should be, should do, should become. Who are you in your nature, exactly as you are? And allowing that nectar to come forward and nourish the world, not trying to fit in a box or some agenda or some other way of being. It's really allowing the truth of you, your nature, to come through. And so the macaw really tells me that. And she also has this staff of power. So in the oracle deck, each of the cards, it has a channeled message from the art. It has divinatory meaning. It has shadow and light essence words, keywords, but it also has an ecstatic embodiment practice where you can actually anchor in the medicine from the cards. And the practice here is creating your own staff of power that you're going to be guided through in the Ecstatic Embodied Leadership Academy. And so this is the Rewilding Your Primal Nature card. And so she's holding this staff of power because she is sovereign. She is in her sovereignty. She is in her power. She has remembered, and she is bringing that wisdom forward. Also very medicine woman energy here. And, when I say medicine woman or shamanic, it's archetypal energy. It's archetypal energy. So it's not trying to say, become a shaman, medicine woman, any of those things. It's saying this is archetypal medicine that we can utilize, that we can bring forward, that can support us in our collective and individual healing. And she's also here in this card holding the new earth tenderly, gently. She's holding the potentiality of what it is that we can become when we co-create, when we come together, because it is in our togetherness that we can create heaven on earth. When we lead from the heart of the rose, of mother's love, of divine love, when we lead from that place, the rose again is here. When we lead from that place, we can create heaven on earth. And that is really the essence of what this card is heaven on earth. We can have Eden. We can have it here now. We don't have to wait. We can have that now if we can return home, returning home. So Let me just feel into these one more moment here. There's the serpent. The serpent is in two of these cards. You can see here at the throat chakra, and then also in the repairing your root card. And the snake is all about transformation. It is about shedding what no longer serves. We are in a time of shedding old paradigms, old patriarchal paradigms, old ways of being, old systems, old structures that are no longer in service to our nourishment, to our homecoming, to our ecstatic embodiment, and to really coming home to each other and creating that cultural matrix and collective matrix of care together. And so the snake, one of the most beautiful things about the snake is that the snake temporarily goes blind when it sheds. And so it is in the greatest point of unknown that it lets go. And so really leaning into this idea of what is it that you need to shed so that you can come home, so that you can repair your root, so that you can step into your full capacities as a healer, as a leader, as a minister, as a holy being, as a spiritual leader, helping to be the change and heal individually and collectively so we can return to this collective matrix of care, to our oneness, to galactic Gaia unity consciousness, to who we are and who we have always been. Healing the division, healing the polarization, healing the separation, ending that story of separation. So where can you shed the story of separation to return home? To more of you, to your body. Where might you need to heal with your body so that you can really be in the fullness of who you're here to be, in your ecstatic embodied leadership potential? How might you need to heal with the earth and repair your wildness? Maybe it's going out and howling at the moon like a wolf. How might you want to activate the fullness of your capacities as a healer, as a wounded healer, as a medicine woman, as a leader, as a spiritual leader, being the change? And how might you want to participate in creating heaven on earth? Those are some questions that I would leave you with to marinate in. And I would love to invite us here into an embodiment practice, an experiential practice where you get to tune into your own inner oracle and to keep listening to your own inner oracle that has been now stimulated and activated by these medicine pills, by these cards. So I want to invite you into this, and it's very simple. We're going to play some music. David is going to bring on some music, and I'm going to guide you to really tap into your own inner oracle and to receive any wisdom that might want to come through connected to this reading or not. It might be some other wisdom entirely that wants to come through for 2022. But overall, I have to say that this reading gives me great hope, and it actually makes me a little bit teary to see that these were the cards that wanted to come through for 2022. I could not have a higher hope for humanity than this reading, than this as a future of what we are stepping into and what is possible for us now. And so just, yes, wanting to share that and just deeply, deeply grateful for this. So I want to invite you here, beloveds, to just gently close your eyes when you're ready. And this time, I would absolutely invite you to place your hands on your heart if that's comfortable for you. Everything is an invitation. It's all for you. Just to breathe in the energy of all that you just received, the energy of that reading, the magic inscribed in the cards, and the medicine, and the messages. Let yourself feel it. If you might want to move your body, gently sway your body, or bring your hands up above your head and down, maybe as if water is streaming down on you. You can bring your hands down over your body, allowing that wisdom to land in your body. Just breathing. Bring your hands back to your heart. I want you to visualize that you're standing in front of your heart now. You've miraculously shrunk, and that you're standing right outside of the walls of your heart. Notice that there's a little door inside your inner heart chamber. With curiosity, you approach the door and you enter inside. You find a staircase leading you down into the depths of your heart, into the lower chambers of your heart. And at the bottom of the staircase, you're greeted by a being sitting on a stool, or on a throne, or maybe just standing. Notice this being, who they are, what they look like, their age. Maybe your higher self, or maybe an angel, maybe a guide. But this being here today is your inner oracle, your inner living oracle. I invite you now to ask this being, first greet the being in any way that feels aligned to you. Maybe you have an offering of gratitude in your pocket for this being. Knowing that they are here to support you in your earth walk. Just as the Pythia priestesses sat upon the tripod, Oracle at Delphi, they are there to answer your questions. Anything that might be on your heart, whether it's about this moment, this week, next year, whatever it might be. Ask this inner oracle for guidance now. Just open to receive anything they have to share. Asking as many questions as you have on your heart that you wish to receive guidance from and about. Allow your inner oracle to guide you deep in the chambers of your heart. Your inner oracle has a talisman for you, a gift. You reach out your hands and open to accept this gift, whatever it might be. Notice it. It might be a stone or an object, crystal, or an herb or a flower, image. Allow yourself to receive it. You can place it into your heart to store it, to anchor it in. Thanking your inner oracle in any way that feels aligned to you. Asking any remaining questions now, for soon it will be time to go, but knowing you can return anytime. Giving gratitude to your inner oracle for any transmissions that came through. And if nothing came through this time, that's okay too. There's a blank slate and there's more time to sit in the not knowing. When you're ready, thanking your guide, perhaps giving a hug or again an offering of gratitude in your palm. Or gently beginning to make your way back up the spiral staircase of your inner heart chamber. Back out through the tiny door. And when you're ready, seeing this scene fade as you return back to the here and now, back to your present time space, and invite you to gently tap on your thighs to help bring yourself back here now fully into your embodiment, into this moment. And to just take a moment here to write down anything that came for you that you'd like to remember, that you would like to honor, that you would like to hold. And if anyone would like to share in the chat what came through for you, would love to hear what your gift might have been or any wisdom that you received from either the oracle or your inner oracle to really support you as you move forward through these chaotic times into 2022. So opening for any shares. I did see from Patricia, I got some great guidance for my life. I believe me acting on them is also of great service to the vision of a nourishing and nurturing collective. Beautiful, honoring that. Casey shared, looked a little like sacred geometry. Yes, the return of true community. The hummingbird is deeply discerning about its life force. My new spirit animal. Beautiful, powerful. Casey, I asked to be visited in my dreams for a longer conversation. Powerful. Yes, I would definitely recommend, thank you for bringing that up. I would definitely recommend that everyone pays attention to their dreams, pay attention to synchronicities, pay attention to animal medicine, pay attention to anything that might come into your life over the following days and following weeks after this, since these can lead to activations that happen over time, that are an integration over time. And I would recommend to ground the energies, if possible, to either do a salt bath tonight or to wash your hands in salt, to put your feet on the earth, especially since there was so much earth medicine in our reading. I would really recommend to just do something deeply nourishing for you and your body to help integrate this. It might be a massage with honey, whatever it might be. Allow yourself to really deeply nourish and ground this wisdom in a wild way, to let that wild energy come out really for that great homecoming. And I know we only have a couple of minutes left here, so I want to just share a few things and then open to any questions that would like to come through. Yes, to the grounding suggestions. Yeah, because some of the wisdom can be very cosmic. So even if it's just moving your body a little bit to help like literally bring it in and land it into your body, you know, tap it into your body can be really, really very useful to really help bring this in. And so I would love to share that if you would like to get the deck, it's available for pre-order. So I'm going to put the link in the chat. And actually, for anyone who is on the call, if you buy 2 decks, you will get a complimentary 30-minute intuitive oracle reading with me, a one-on-one reading. So that's a super juicy offer because it's actually the same price. So you're getting it for totally free. Putting the link here in the chat for you. And then also, if you just wanted to get an intuitive oracle reading, those are half an hour or 90 minutes or 2 hours. If you really want to do a deep soul purpose activation reading, if you're really wondering who you're here to be, what you're here to do, a 2-hour reading with this deck and pulling as many cards as we need to really get the full transmission of medicine. There's a special way that I do it. Highly recommend that if you're feeling the call to that. So I put that in there as well. And then for those who want to gather in the collective matrix of care, we are actually doing a virtual retreat that is a deep dive into the deck that is called The Great Homecoming. We're having a Great Homecoming retreat from October 15th to 17th that is going to be all about anchoring this medicine in here on Earth. And since it's virtual, we're going to be anchoring in those points of light on the grid from our land, where we live, where we root, where we ground. And there will definitely be some repairing our root energy that's happening there too. So I'm also going to put that one in the chat for you. And that's there. And then also on my website, there's a Soul Sparkle starter kit that's free. If you wanted to just get updates and stay in touch for future things that are coming, you're welcome to do that too. Happy to support you in all the ways in sparkling shamelessly and really being in your fullness and who you're here to be, and really risking to have that courage to be in your most authentic, raw, and true soul expression for the good of all. So opening for any questions here that want to come in the chat, or if you just want to unmute yourself, anything about the oracle, anything that I could answer before we come into close tonight. It's been such an honor to be here with you in this way, beloveds, back at the alma mater.
Reverend Laney, I'll ask a question. I was curious about the artwork.
Yes.
Is that your original artwork? Was it collaborative artwork, or just wanted to know a little bit more about the artwork? I know you said it was multimedia, but just wanted to know if it was your artwork or collective.
Yes, it's all my artwork, and it's work that I've been making over largely the last 10 years. I mean, there are elements like this is hands from the women in my community. So this was, you know, there are elements that I have asked and called from other people that have been pulled in, but they've all been created through this channel. Yes.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Well done.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, they are all live physical pieces that are tangible, and they've been translated in this way to be received as the medicine pill. And they will be smaller than this. They're going to be, you know, 4.33 inches, but still equally as potent. Yeah, thank you. And I see your message, Bill. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Susan. I see your message too. Is there any other questions that would like to come through? Anything else? All right, I don't see anybody's hands raised. Okay, beloveds. Well, it has been a deep, oh, Bill, I see your hand raised now.
Where are you? Are you in New York City or somewhere else?
So I was in New York City for 20 years, and I relocated last year to St. Louis, Missouri to be closer to the land.
Okay. So
Yeah.
if you do the readings that you posted, is it done via Zoom or by phone or something else?
So the readings are done on Zoom, and the cards are actually also digital. So I usually will bring them up digitally on the screen, and then also I have them here too. And that's how I do the readings. All right, beloveds. Well, let's just take a minute to place our hand on our heart and just really give gratitude to all those beings that came, those benevolent beings, to really support us and hold this container for this potent reading, and all the beauty that transpired, and all the guidance and all the medicine and wisdom that has come through. And just honoring each of you for being here, honoring all those energies that came through, honoring all of your inner oracles, your inner living oracles, and may they continue to guide you as these deep practices in the art of divination can also guide you. May it be in deep support to your journey, and may this help to activate you into even more of who you're here to be. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. Thank you, beloveds.